Hi, it's Shelly and welcome to my channel. What are we doing today? In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down our costs of 2 nights, 3 days in Tokyo and our travel from Tokyo to Thailand with a layover in Beijing. Budgeting is a very personal matter and everyone has their own ideas on what budget travel is. So take that into account as you watch this video. What works for us might not work for you. So here it is, money and budgeting. It's what we're doing today. Kathy and I have set a budget of approximately 4,000 Canadian per month for our 6-month adventure. This works out to about $130 per day. All costs mentioned in this video are in Canadian dollars, so you can do the conversion to whatever currency you use. The categories for our budget are transportation, which is what it costs to get to our destination, local transportation, which is what it costs to get around wherever we're staying since we won't have a vehicle, accommodation, food and drink. We're not splitting this up between eating at home and eating at restaurants for this trip because we'll be eating out most of the time or picking up easy meals from the markets or grocery stores and not doing normal shopping and cooking at home. This category will also include our drinks, water, soda, beer, etc. Activities. This category includes any excursions we book, as well as entry fees to museums, temples, etc. And finally, miscellaneous. And this will include laundry, incidentals, hygiene products, things we might need in our accommodation to make life easier, as well as small purchases of clothing, etc. that we might need along the way. Just a side note here, we're not including souvenirs or bigger personal purchases in this daily budget, since that's completely discretionary and it will be different for everyone. We will, however, let you know how much we spend on these things, just for reference. Some of the countries we're visiting are more economical and some are more expensive, so our hope is that they will balance each other out over the course of the trip. If you've been following my channel, you'll know that we cruised over to Tokyo from Vancouver on the Norwegian Sun. If you're interested in the cost of this cruise, hop over to our blog, Nomad Nanas, where we detail how we saved and paid for this cruise. I'll put the link to the blog in the description below. So usually the biggest cost of any travel adventure is your accommodation. For us, we have been collecting credit card points and miles for the last 18 months in anticipation of this trip. And we were able to cover our accommodation in Tokyo using Scene points. Scene Plus is a Canadian loyalty shopping rewards program, and you can find the details on this in our blog as well. For our layover accommodation in Beijing, we used Marriott Bonvoy points. So again, no cost for accommodation. I just want to mention here that collecting and using points and miles can really offset the costs of travel. To break down the savings, just for demonstration purposes and to show the realistic cost, the hotel in Tokyo for 2 nights would have been around $340 through Agoda for 2 nights, and the hotel in Beijing through Marriott Bonvoy for 1 night would have been around $195. So this would have added another $535 to our trip, or another $178 per day, which would have blown our budget right out of the water. Our actual biggest cost for these few days was airport transfers. We were traveling with 2 suitcases each since we had stops in Alaska and needed warmer clothing, so we weren't able to take advantage of cheaper public transport. Transfer from the cruise port to our hotel in Tokyo was $189.64 since we actually disembarked in Yokohama, and from our hotel to Haneda Airport was $87.15. Transfers in Beijing to and from the airport was $100.32, so our total cost for transfers was $377.11. Next item on the budget is food. In Tokyo, we only ate out once. The rest of our meals were bought from grocery stores or 7-Elevens. Check out my video on our time in Tokyo to see what we did specifically for food. I'll put the link at the end of this video. We also took advantage of airport lounges, which we have access to with our credit cards to cut down on our food costs. We ate on the plane during both flights, and these meals were included in our tickets. So the total we spent on food in Tokyo and Beijing was $82.60. The next item on our budget is miscellaneous. This included fees to do our laundry and some over-the-counter medications for a total of $32.33. Our overall spending for a total of 3 nights was $498.32, and this breaks down to $166.11 per day, so we're already over our budget for this small portion of the trip. The local transportation killed us during this portion of the journey, but since we're spending 28 days in Chiang Mai, Thailand next, we know this type of cost is going to decrease significantly, and we're hoping to regain some ground while we're there. I didn't include our transportation to Tokyo in this video because it was the cruise, and the cruise is covered in our blog as a separate entry. Moving forward, however, our travel costs to our destinations will be included in our budgets. In the spirit of transparency, I would also note that we spent $162 for souvenirs and treats for the folks back home, as well as $128 for a new suitcase. When you're doing your budgeting for travel, you always need to keep in mind that you're going to buy stuff. And you also have to allow for the unexpected as well. This is completely discretionary and will be different for everyone. But just bear in mind not to keep your budget too tight because shite happens. And also, you may see something you just have to have that you can't get back home. So now we're in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and we will be posting new videos on our adventures here soon. So I hope you'll follow along on our journey. I'm also tracking expenses for this portion of our travels, and I'll do a budget video again at the end of our time here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.